So let's have a look at the grid for this last race of the day. Adam Morgan on pole position with Aidan Moffat. For company, the second row, Ricky Collard, another man to watch here, and Aaron Taylor-Smith alongside. Then Dan Rowbottom and Rory Butcher ahead of Colin Turkington and Dan Camish. Jake Hill comes next with Josh Cook lining up with him. Then there is Tom Ingram and Ash Sutton to round out the top dozen. Tom Chilton is next, Mikey Doble alongside him. And then there's Dexter Patterson and Andrew Watson. Next on the grid, Stephen Jelly, then Sam Osborne, then Ronan Pearson, and Jack Butel is going to start 20th, 21st, Dan Lloyd ahead of Nick Hamilton, and then Nick Halstead. There is Jade Edwards, 24th on the grid. Then there is George Gamble and Will Powell, 26th. Bobby Thompson has withdrawn from this final race of the day. Now, in terms of hybrid, it is as they cross the line. So that means that there will still just be one lap of hybrid use available for Ash Sutton. There are going to be 2 laps for Tom Ingram, 3 for Josh Cook, 4 for Jake Hill, 5 for Dan Camish, 6 for Colin Turkington, 7 for Rory Butcher, and everybody else has 8. And although the hybrid hasn't made a huge amount of difference all day, it might do for 1 or 2 in this final race, especially if they can get a decent start. And of course, some now on the grid out of position compared to the previous 2 races.
Yeah, the previous 2 races based on qualifying and race 1 and 2 have obviously been based on performance, and now we have a little bit of a shuffle to the grid. Well, the biggest shuffle we could have, 12 place change. So theoretically there should be a difference in potential from the fastest cars starting 12th and 11th forwards.
So drivers weaving around to try and get the temperatures up, ready to slot into place on this 1-by-1 staggered grid. So Ash Sutton from 12th. Realistically, where are we expecting?
Top 6. You know, he, as Paul said, he's going to push it, but he won't take risks as he can't afford. His gap to Ingram is too small to take big risks. I think he'll be watching Ingram very carefully to see what he does.
So into the chicane comes Adam Morgan. Steve Farrell, his engineer, will be on the radio to guide him through that start procedure. Aidan Moffat, Adam's former teammate from his formative years in the BTCC, will be alongside. Ricky Collard still hunting that maiden win. Certainly a man to watch for 3rd, and their starting 12th is Ash Sutton. But if anybody can get through to make it 3 in a day and be only the 3rd man in history to do so, he is that driver. And you never know what might kick off at the complex. Suddenly he's bought a whole load of places. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, round the outside of turn 1 and the complex, you can make up 3 or 4 places quite quickly if everybody bunches up or somebody has a slow start in front.
Adam Morgan on pole position then. Aidan Moffat in the One Motorsport Honda forms up next to the WSR round BMW. Josh Cook makes his way up to 10th on the grid. Only the 3 laps of hybrid use once more. 6 wins now to Ash Sutton, 2 to Dan Camish and 1 each to Colin Turkington, Tom Ingram and Tom Chilton. Fair play to One Motorsport with Starline Racing. They have rebuilt Will Powell's car. You would not know, looking at it, that had been in an accident.
And it was a big accident as well. The whole front end really smashed up badly. So well done, One Motorsport. Great job.
And well done to Speedworks as well, because George Gamble was saying it was only the smallest of rubs, but it seemed to do a lot of damage to the suspension and break things. So they've repaired that car to get him onto the grid, but it's been a tough day for George Gamble. 5-second board is displayed. Get set for round 12 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. Lights out, blast off. Good start by Morgan. Good start by Moffat, who comes across and covers the Toyota Ricky Collard. Adam Morgan with about 2 lengths of an advantage into turn 1. Good start by Rowbottom around the outside, but he's not quite got himself into the top 3. Tries again on the outside, going up towards the complex as the field pours into Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave. Lead gap is right down. It's Morgan ahead of Moffat. It's Collard from Rowbottom 3rd and 4th.
Absolutely terrific launch from the BMW. Morgan got that one absolutely nailed.
And Seagrave for the first time, so good getaway by Morgan, but Moffat trying to stay with him. Ash Sutton in traffic, looking for a way through. Josh Cook's on his toes, look on the inside, trying to squeeze past Jake Hill, coming into Noble. But while they're all squabbling at the lower reaches of the top 12, Morgan and Moffat and others are going to try and break away.
Yeah, very close, side by side. Sutton on the inside there, trying to pick up some places.
Josh Cook on his outside look as the 2 of them go down towards Church, absolutely together. Tom Ingram is in that battle pack as well as the cars come streaming through for the first time. Ingram just ahead of them with that gold number plate, the reigning champion, Sam Osborne, Dan Lloyd, Ronan Pearson, George Gamble, all running together as Adam Morgan leads into the chicane with Moffat, with Collard, with Rowbottom rounding out that leading quartet.
Yes, all very close at the front, isn't it? This this is exactly the sort of potential race 3 thriller we've got lined up here.
George Gamble skips the chicane, gets it back onto the circuit though, but over the timing line goes the third of the Toyotas. So Adam Morgan led by 6/10 at the end of lap 1 from Moffat, from Collard, Rowbottom, Turkington, and then Taylor Smith in 6th place. Rowbottom now onto the back of the Toyota. Big dive up the inside there, look from Ash Sutton. Tries to prise open the door against Ingram. Cook has dropped back a little bit into 12th place, so he's going backwards, not forwards, but he's got a good view as Sutton tags to the back of Ingram.
Yeah, he's just trying to get a cut back here, but it's going to help Cookie more than anything else. Sutton desperate to try and get in front of Ingram because that just keeps that points gap going out further.
Right up to the white line goes Ash Sutton. Ingram fending him off for the moment. Lap number 2 out of 16. Cook behind. He's been struggling with the ideal setup of that car all weekend, and he made a move to the inside just as Sutton came across. In replay, Dan Rowbottom up the inside of Ricky Collard through at Seagrave. That puts the Napa Racing UK with Cataclean Ford up into 3rd place now.
That's his favourite spot. He's done so many overtakes there this weekend. He's made that his own.
Right, next target, Aidan Moffat, but Adam Morgan is building that lead, isn't he? So Robo comes into the chicane 3rd, wriggles his way out of the chicane, up towards the timing line. Drama in the background as they're skipping off the road is Tom Chilton, and back on again in the Hyundai. Ronan Pearson gets forced onto the grass, and this is Stephen Jelly's view over the line.
Over the line, Stephen Jelly comes through in 14th place. Just in front of him is that Chilton-Sutton-Cook battle.
To the complex they come. And now Morgan is building that lead. So the cork in the bottle in a way is Aidan Moffat, because he is holding up Rowbottom. That gives Collard a chance to come back. Robo tries his move on the inside line again. Not quite able to make it stick. And now he's got to be mindful that Collard is on the attack once more. Morgan loving this as Collard comes back round the outside of Rowbottom.
Terrific. This is exactly the sort of battle that Adam Morgan wants to see in his mirrors, because he's escaping down the road.
Collard sideways, going out of church, hangs on to it. Rowbottom lines up for the inside line. He's going to go through surely this time. Absolutely dead set level, and a little mistake by Collard. Getting the car loose, plays into the hands of Rowbottom. He's back through, but he's got to play catch up against Moffat once more. Also, of course, Rowbottom now gives a toe to Collard, who in turn gives a toe to Turkington. Coming up Woodham Hill, and it's the BMW alongside the Toyota. Turkington almost ahead.
Yeah, is Collard given this one up, or he's going to try around the outside? No, he slots in behind Turkington. Good racing, and using the hybrid there made a big difference, I think, to Rowbottom on that lap.
So Morgan is 2.2 seconds up the road ahead of Aidan Moffat. Rowbottom is then 4/10 back. Josh Cook, fastest lap of the race. Possibly with a toe, possibly also on, of course, his ability around here. Ingram is the target. You're riding with Cook. Sutton's got through, and he's pulling away a little bit further up the road as they turn their way now through. Look back from Ingram's car. In fact, it's Sutton behind. It's Camish I'm looking at further up the road, so Ash Sutton is behind them. So Cook has managed to assert himself and move himself ahead of the championship leader. This Jelly's view once more.
Yeah, Cook has split that Sutton-Ingram battle, hasn't he?
Yeah.
While they were fighting, he got in between them.
Right, so Morgan still leading, and again Rowbottom starting to get onto the back of Aidan Moffat, but Turkington is not far away, so Rowbottom knows that he's got to clear that Honda pretty soon.
Yeah, all this is playing into the hands of Adam Morgan, who's got his head down, he's in the rhythm and just driving every lap like it's a qualifier.
Look at the gap that he's managed to pull. So Moffat doing a good job of hanging on to that 2nd place, but Rowbottom closing right up under braking, and Rowbottom has always gone well round here. He's pulled some good moves, he's had a pole position here. Aidan Moffat flicks it out of the chicane. Then there is Josh Cook going through in the 2nd of the One Motorsport Hondas. This is the battle pack, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. It is Moffat, Rowbottom, Turkington, and then Collard, and Robo needs to make the move, and he knows that. Here they come up towards the complex.
Yeah, on board. Will he dive for the inside? No. He forces Moffat to defend. Oh, he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. This is a different move from Rowbottom. He's done it early, right in the middle of the complex. Terrific move. I guess he felt that Moffat knew that last move into the Seagrave corner was a good one for Rowbottom, so he surprised him. And look at Turkington now, trying to go all the way around the outside. Can't do it on this lap.
Not there, he can't. No, Rowbottom doing that old Rickard Rydell line. Round the outside at Campbell, the inside for Cobb. Job done. And straight away, he's pulling away. Now he needs Moffat to go defensive, because Rowbottom has got to try and pull back 2.7 seconds against Adam Morgan, and he's got 12 laps in which to do it.
Carries the speed on the outside, all the way around the outside, and block passes In fairness, Aidan Moffat didn't chop across him or cause any problem there, but some really good overtaking by Dan Rowbottom at the complex this weekend.
Into the chicane he comes, as there, Ricky Collard is now battling with Aaron Taylor-Smith, who goes off the road and slops back in behind. So he didn't gain an advantage out of all of that, and he's on the attack once more to the inside of Collard, down towards Allard. Like, the lead gap is now 2.2 seconds. That last lap of Rowbottom's was nearly 6/10 quicker than Morgan's.
Wow, that's a big chunk, isn't it? So he's going to, if he can keep that pace up, he's going to bring that gap down very quickly. That's the one to watch. Rowbottom desperate to get on the top step of the podium this weekend.
Well, it started off badly with that tyre delamination in race 1, put into the back of the grid for race 2, but it goes to show the touring car weekend is never over until it's over. Now, look, Collard not having to be attacked by Aaron Taylor-Smith, because Taylor-Smith is being attacked by Rory Butcher in the second of the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK Corollas. This is the fight for third. Aidan Moffat ahead of Colin Turkington. That gap is widening all the while. So as the leaders come through, Morgan to Rowbottom is set to 1. It was down by another 0.3 of a second. It's not going to be long before they are together. Ingram, in the meantime, is in 10th place and Cook's stuck behind him.
Hasn't changed, has it, since Cook split him and Sutton. You can see Sutton still behind, holding that position at the moment, but Jake Hill and trainer cars behind, very close to the back of Sutton as well. Jake Hill looking very quick through the chicane.
Yeah, behind Hill there is Ingram, then Cook, then Sutton, then Chilton. Leading gap down to 1.7 seconds now. So Rowbottom with a personal best lap last time. The fastest lap of anybody, Josh Cook from lap 3. But it's certainly coming down, that lead gap. Moffat hanging on to third, so he is the best of the One Motorsport Honda drivers, and Turkington has still not yet found a way by.
No, this is a good he's just not picking the right moment, is he, to get through. Cook right up behind Ingram.
Seagrave, the battle for 10th and 11th places. Josh has spent most of his day staring at the back of that Hyundai. Doesn't matter where they are, 2nd and 3rd, 10th and 11th. He's still staring at the back of Ingram's car. He's quicker out of Noble, and that brings him a little bit nearer to the back. Tighter line going into Goodwood and then towards Village, but he's just not getting close enough to attack, that's for sure. In the first sector on this lap, another 10th pullback by Rowbottom against Adam Morgan in the lead.
Yeah, he took 6 top 10ths off him in the last lap, so he's definitely coming.
Jake Hill on the tail of Dan Cambish. They have spent most of the day together as well, haven't they? Up Woodham Hill they come, and side by side in the background there, we had, I think, Andrew Watson trying to get himself up past Stephen Jelly. To the chicane comes then Rory Butcher in 7th place as he flicks his way out of that right sequence of corners over the timing line. The lead gap is now 1 second. 1 second between Morgan and Rowbottom. In replay, Stephen Jelly coming under attack, and Andrew Watson finding a way through.
Another 6/10 taken off the leader, Morgan's gap to Rowbottom.
Will Powell battling there with Jade Edwards as they come over the stripe. That is for penultimate place, and Jade is ahead at the moment in 25th. Right, so as we say, Dan Rowbottom is closing. 2/10 pullback in the first sector of this, the 8th lap of the race now.
Here's the front gap.
Turkington again tries, but round the outside at Noble, runs out of road, and this is helping, of course, both Morgan and Rowbottom. Good defence by Moffat, though.
Absolutely, driving a fine race today, Moffat. His best race of the year.
So Turkington's right there behind him. Ricky Collard not quite being able to stay on the tail of the BMW now. He's almost there. Aaron Taylor-Smith next in the queue ahead of Butcher, Cammish, Hill and Ingram in 10th place.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor-Smith has, he's having a good race here. He drove such defensive races at Snetterton. It's nice to see him with nobody up behind him and him attacking and pushing to go forward. On board with Cook through the chicane.
Looking back from Ingram through the chicane, up the curve, over the curve, out of the chicane, up towards the line. Lead gap, 7/10 of a second. Cook has got Sutton breathing down his neck as they turn their way into Allard now. So for Adam Morgan, he'll be knowing that that gap is coming down, but he'll be driving his own race, even if Rowbottom catches. How much hybrid have they got? Morgan has got 2 extra laps use.
Yeah, it could be crucial if it comes to the end to defend, couldn't it, for Morgan? That's what he's saving it for.
Yeah, absolutely. And poor old Josh Cook, he's going to leave Thruxton winless, by the look of it.
Yeah.
So there's the leader, that's Adam Morgan. But look how much closer Dan Rowbottom has got now. Another 10th pullback in the first sector. But he needs to try and do this now with a toe and on pure pace rather than on the hybrid.
Yeah, but getting the toe now is going to help. It's going to assist Rowbottom, particularly up this long Woodham hill up to the final club chicane, maxing out at just between 145 and 150 miles an hour.
Not quite close enough yet, but another lap and he may well be. And you can see they're being helped by Aidan Moffat in third, still defending from Turkington into the braking zone.
Wow, the Ford was so good on the braking there. Although the BMW gets a good traction, good squirt off the corner, you could see the closing speed of Rowbottom on the brakes.
So through Allard they turn then, down Rowbottom in that Napa Racing with Cataclean back Ford Focus, hunting down WSR Team BMW entry of Adam Morgan, and they are almost together as they arrive at the complex. He's not going to be able to challenge here on this lap, but next time, if he's not already got through at the chicane, he might well be able so to do. 0.4 of a second when they started this lap. We are on lap number 10 of 16, and it is game on for the race lead, just as it is for third place.
Yeah, just following looking at the on-board then we had from Rowbottom through the complex, there was no advantage that he had over the BMW, so that favourite overtaking place of his at the moment's not an option for him because the BMW had good grip. Here we go though, side by side. He's down the inside into Church, and Rowbottom's found a way through.
He's done it. Dan Rowbottom leads then in round 12 of the championship. Adam Morgan powerless to stop him, and there's applause in the pit garage for that then. So Rowbottom is the new race leader. Still got to look after tyres, of course, to the very end. He's got to be mindful of track limits, so it's not game over, and he's up the curve into the chicane. A little bit of damage on the front of the car as he comes out of the chicane, but Robo leads then up towards the timing line. He's only had one career win before, that was at Alton Park, and as he comes into Allard, turns his way through the right-hander, he is getting away. He's already half a second clear. This was the move.
This is how it happened. The BMW running wide, just losing a bit of lateral grip and flat out on the throttle and taking a tighter line with more momentum and more grip. Rowbottom was easily through.
For third place, it is still Moffat ahead of Turkington, ahead of Collard. Now, I just wonder whether or not Aidan Moffat can do anything at all before the end about Adam Morgan if Adam sort of falls away into his clutches. At the moment, that gap is 2.4 seconds, but if having lost the lead sort of takes some of the spirit out of Adam Morgan, he might drop back. We'll wait and see. Moffat, I don't think, can catch him on pure pace because he's so busy defending from Turkington. Camish now having another go to try to get past Butcher.
Yeah, trying to do that same move. That Napa Racing Ford seems to be able to hold a very tight line. He didn't get through there, look, but it seems to have a lot of grip coming round Goodwood and not drifting out wide.
To the chicane then, they're almost nose to tail here. So Dan Rowbottom race leader ahead of Adam Morgan. Third, it is Moffat. Fourth, this is Turkington. Fifth, this is the fight then. Sorry, lower down, this is seventh fight, I should say, because it's Toyota versus Ford. It is the Butcher Camish et al. Battle. Collard is still fifth and Taylor Smith is in sixth place as they come over the timing line once again. So Rowbottom is building that gap. It's up to 0.8 of a second. 5 laps to go now.
And a quiet race, relatively speaking, from Sutton. He hasn't been able to move forward, really, has he? He's still in 12th place, albeit on the back of this group. If anything happens in this big group, he's going to pick up places for free. But he certainly hasn't been making aggressive passes, has he?
No, he's banking what he can, not forcing the issue. Tom Ingram just ahead of these two. You're looking at Cook and Sutton. And for third place still, Moffat ahead of Turkington, and Collard is coming back at the pair. Adam Morgan being given a driving standards flag for track limit abuses now. And Moffat doing a grand job of hanging on to that third place. Turkington equally not really forcing the issue, being prepared to back points in fourth.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the right call. Turkington's, making good points out of a day where he hasn't had the best, fastest car, so he is banking points.
The chicane he comes then, still fourth, Rowbottom, then Morgan, there he is, Moffat third. So front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. Ingram goes through, still running in 10th place with that gold champion's number plate at the front of the car. A look to the inside there from Dan Camish to try to unsettle Rory Butcher, diving down towards Allard. Couldn't do it. Well, the Napa Racing UK domination rather continues, even if it's a different man behind the wheel. We've had wins for Ash Sutton and Dan Camish. We've had a pole for Dan Rowbottom. Maybe it's his turn for a win. And Sam Osborne on the podium, of course, already this year as well. Lap number 13 we are now on. This is Tom Ingram's view, and it's the back of Jake Hill's BMW.
somebody's going to just have a little moment or shuffle the pack up. That's Tom Chilton. He's had a spin, I think, up at the complex.
He's had that little moment. He was in 13th. That would have shuffled the pack, but it's behind what we're looking. So Tom Ingram's view from earlier on. Right, so back with Ingram, still staring at the tail of Jake Hill's car. We are on now, lap 13 out of 16. And again, Ingram is close, but not close enough to attack, although he might get a toe heading up the hill.
Yeah, he carried good speed, didn't he? We heard Adam Morgan saying that, or was it Adam Morgan or Jake Hill saying that they get this aero wash? It was Adam Morgan.
Yeah, it was.
Which means that when they get close to the car, they just understeer because they lose the aero downforce on the front splitter.
Ingram did get a toe, and he did attack, and he was on the outside line, but it didn't pay off for him. Camish goes over the line just ahead. It's 8th, then it's Hill, then it is Ingram in 10th place. They round Allard once again. So it's still the lead gap. Rowbottom ahead of Morgan at about a second. And encouragingly for Speedworks, they've got 2 of the Toyotas running there in that top 10. George Gamble has made progress up to 17th, having started 25th. So admittedly, it's not a race win, which is what the team is hunting for, but the pace of those Toyotas with that new Neil Brown engine getting better event by event. Josh Cook now being warned about track limit offences, as the driving standards flag will go to him this time, and Camish having to think about defending from Hill.
Yeah, big slide there from Rory Butcher, wasn't it? He's got that car very loose at the rear. That will allow Chilton in the pits now. Despite the splitters folded under, and he may have tyre problems.
I'm just thinking it was a bit low on that right front. Yeah, so Tom Chilton effectively out of the race then, but Dan Rowbottom leads the way coming into the chicane. It's going to be 2 laps to run at the end of this, and he managed to wriggle his way through, remember, from 5th on the grid into the lead and pull clear. It illustrates how good a car the Ford is, doesn't it? But it's gone through, and that off the road is Jade Edwards, whose miserable season is getting no better. Poor old Jade is having a really horrible time, and parks the car, and that's the day done. Right, we are then on the penultimate lap. Rowbottom to Morgan is up to 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, Dan Rowbottom's comfortably controlling this race. He put in that charge, hopefully didn't take too much out of his tyres and risking a repeat of the problem he had in race 1. He'll be stroking it home, he'll be avoiding all the curves and doing everything he can to just control it. Jake Hill side by side with Camish.
Camish on the inside, Hill on the outside. He's going to run out of road, he's going to give way, and here comes Ingram round the outside of Jake Hill. That is brave, and it's worked for him. Jake Hill was focusing on gaining a place, and he's lost one instead, as round the outside goes Ingram. Hill comes back at him on the inside, but oh no you don't, says Tom Ingram, and he puts the Hyundai ahead of the BMW, so Ingram is up now into 9th place.
Well, ever the opportunist, Ingram saw that one coming with Hill and Camish side by side going round Noble, and he knew where to place the car to take advantage.
And now Josh Cook wants a piece of all of that as well, doesn't he? Think, well, if Ingram can get past Hill, maybe I can as well. Into the chicane they come, ready to start the last lap, onto which Dan Rowbottom has just gone. Adam Morgan behind him, 2 seconds back, then Moffat, then Turkington, then Collard. The next train of cars comes over the line, and Ingram then, the mover, up into 9th place.
This is on board with Ingram, and you watch, he places, he sees that coming, carries the speed through the corner, and while Jake Hill's sorting out his car from going off on the grass, he nips past.
So half a lap to go, and Dan Rowbottom, who started race 2 from 24th on the grid, leads on this last lap. That's quite a recovery.
Wonderful drive from Dan Rowbottom. I'll be so pleased to see him bring this across the line for yet another Napa Racing victory.
He is one of, like many on the grid, a number of the drivers that work so hard to raise the funding, to do what the sponsors require. He is a huge enthusiast of his championship, great ambassador for his sponsors as well, and a second touring car career win, especially having been feeling a bit below par for the last couple of meetings with illness, would be a great tonic for us. This is Dan Rowbottom at work, into the chicane for the last time. The pit wall is absolutely covered with Napa Racing UK engineers who are going to cheer him home. So Dan Rowbottom is about to win round 12. Checkered flag at the ready. Rowbottom wins at Thruxton. Dan Rowbottom is the race winner, and that is a hugely important result to Dan Rowbottom. Adam Morgan second, Aidan Moffat third, Turkington, Collard and Taylor Smith round out the top 6. Then it's Butcher, Camish, Ingram and Hill to round out the top 10. Cook 11th and Ash Sutton in the end, made no progress. Stayed 12th.
Stayed 12th, and crucially, Ingram finished 3 places in front of him. So Ingram has clawed some points back, having followed him across the line in race 1 and 2.
And it's a very, very happy Dan Rowbottom, and after a tough day, tough season, that means a great deal to him, no question about it. So the Napper engineers celebrating, and Alfred Twatnam, Dan's team manager, will no doubt be very happy as well. But in Malcolm's style, it'll be a sort of, yeah, well done over the radio. There'll be no euphoria about it, but a really good result, that's for sure. So Dan Rowbottom, race winner, and the winner by 2.7 seconds. Let's confirm the results of round 12 then. Dan Rowbottom's 2nd career win ahead of Adam Morgan and Aidan Moffat. Colin Turkington 4th, then Ricky Collard and Aaron Taylor-Smith in 6th, from Rory Butcher, from Dan Camish, from Tom Ingram, and the top 10 rounded out by Jake Hill. In 11th place, Josh Cook ahead of Ash Sutton, then Andrew Watson in 13th, Mikey Doble 14th from Dexter Patterson, Stephen Jelly, George Gamble 17th, Dan Lloyd, Ronan Pearson and Sam Osborne in 20th spot. 21st was Jack Butel ahead of Nick Halstead and then Nick Hamilton. Will Powell was 24th, Tom Chilton was a lap down after a pit stop, and Jade Edwards the one retirement quite near the end.